Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Software Development Cluster of Department of IT, I, Dr. Sarika Chauhan, Chief Academic Officer of Vidyalankar Information and Vidyalankar School of Information Technology, I welcome you all to the webinar on Cloud Engineering Path to AWS Solution Architect. Today we have our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Sachin Agrawal, AWS Certified Solutions Architect, Deloitte Consulting India Private Limited, Bangalore. He has industry experience of more than 5 years, concentrated on implementing automation and scripting, AWS and DevOps, analytics and cloud solutions on strong exposure in networking protocols and CI and CD implementation. He has many certification on his name. That is, to name a few, we have AWS Certified Solutions Architect, Google Analytics Certified. He is a Python developer certified by HackerRank, and his roles or the job roles are DevOps engineer, team lead. He has worked across the globe for Fortune 500 and top European companies to deliver stable cloud solutions and implemented DevOps culture. In his skills, he is skilled on various technologies, like for database, knows Teradata, Oracle, MySQL, Sybase, BigQuery. For operating system, Windows 7, Unix, Linux, Red Hat Linux. And for scripting and programming languages, he knows Python, Java, and shell scripting. He has worked on different cloud platforms like AWS and Google Cloud. He knows the DevOps tools like Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Azure, and Splunk. He has hosted many seminars, webinars, and meetups with esteemed professional training organization as specialist in the DevOps and cloud. We welcome you, sir, and I request you to take the session ahead. Over to you, Sachin, sir.
Thank you very much, Sarika, for such a warm welcome. And yeah, good evening to all of you, and thank you all of you for joining the session and taking out your time in a late evening, so that and taking your time to hear out to me. So I hope everyone can see my screen, and every one of you are aware about what we are going to talk about today, that is the cloud engineering path to AWS solution architect. Now, before we will go ahead in the session and before we will talk about few things, I would like to like already the things have been brief about me by Sarika. However, what I will do that I will like just let it be there for a while so that you can read it out, and if you have any questions for related to anything regarding my roles or the responsibilities or anything you want to ask or you're curious to know more about that, so definitely you can go ahead and you can ask about it in the end or at the end of the session. So I think everything from a technical perspective has been covered. Now I'll just cover up the little bit about my hobbies as well, because that is something which is important to know. And because you most of the time being in IT, you're working like day and night, and it's very important for you to have something as a stress buster. Like for some people it's a dog therapy, for some people it's a exercise, swimming, and some or other odd thing. Though for me it's a cooking. Like I like to I like to cook different foods and different things. So whenever I get a time, I try to cook a meal for me, and I go ahead with the, so like that is acts as a stress buster for me. Okay. And apart from that, I do like swimming. I do some sort of exercise, because exercise is very important for us these days, as most of us are working from home. So that's definitely an add on as another important aspect in our life. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the agenda. And now when we talk about the agenda, so of course the speaker introduction has been done here, then I will be talking about the cloud. What is cloud? What does the cloud deployment models are? What is the different type of services offered by cloud? Then what are the different types of vendors about the cloud and all? And we will also talk about specific to Amazon Web Services, and we'll get to know that why we are talking only and only about Amazon Web Services rather than any other thing, and why we have to learn AWS, what kind of the certifications does AWS offers, what are the types of services there are, how the data is transferred when you have a large like a petabyte or of a data. So how you transfer that data from the your normal like computer or a data center to the cloud service provider and these stuffs, and what are the benefits of the certifications, and a little bit more. In between we have a small quiz as well planned for you, which will be having a quiz which will just grasp and will tell you that okay how the thing, which will basically give you more knowledge and give you more confidence on whatever we have learned or we will be learning throughout the session. Okay, so if you guys have any question, we'll have a last 10 minutes of a slot where we'll take up all your questions and all your queries. So please hold on with your questions, make a note of all your questions in a paper, and one by one I'll give an opportunity to every one of you so that you can come and ask your questions. Okay, now cloud. Cloud is such a term which most of us we have heard it like many times, we would have heard or we might be hearing it further, but you see that nowadays in your day to day life you are hearing or you know more, you get to know that okay there is something known as cloud. And but what is that cloud? Okay, now before coming to cloud I would talk about little bit about the on premises or the local environment or these things. Now nowadays if you talk about the local environment or these things, what happens that normally you store all your data in your laptop or in your desktop, or you buy an extra hard disk if you have more data and you store that data in the hard disk. But this is till the time you have 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte, 4 terabyte of a data. But this is known as the on premises or local data, means which is in your storage only, which is in your local environment, that is in your desktop, in your um, computer or in your laptop. But what happens if I say that I give you a software which generates a 1 terabyte of a data every day? This means in 30 days you have a 30 terabyte of a data. Now when you have a 30 terabyte of a data, how you are going to manage it, how you are going to store it, how you are going to process it, all these things are the major challenges we face. And we are also not sure that what kind of data it could be. It could be the data of in a draw format, it could be in a text format, it could be audio, video, or any other random data which could be there. So this would be a big challenge for you to make sure and to understand that how you are going to manage this data and how you are going to handle this data. Now to overcome all these scenarios, long back a concept came of a cloud. Cloud is nothing, it is a virtual computer. It means that I can access your computer from my location, and I don't need any hardware to set up, I don't need any CPU or any RAM or any sort of things like which should be present at my location. I'm just accessing your computer via your IP. Okay, whatever your IP address is there, if I can access it via your IP, that is the concept of a cloud. So cloud is something which is completely virtual, means you can't see it, you can't, but you can make use of it every time. Okay, means there is no such physical device located at your place, but it is a completely a computer which acts as a virtual device. Now it is refers to the servers which are accessed over the internet and the softwares and the databases that runs on those servers. Now there are a lot of data centers. If you see this diagram, these are the a small example of a data centers where you have a different racks. These are my racks. You have a different racks in which the servers are installed. Servers are nothing, basically they are the CPUs which are set up there, which are put there, and through which you access each and you access your via the IP, you access those devices. Now in those scenarios, when you access via the IP or via the any other mechanism, then what it says that you can able to remotely access any of the server or any of the uh, device or the computer. The same thing happens with the cloud. Means there would be some data center which will be located at some place. Let's say it's located in Mumbai or it's located in Bangalore. And you might also have heard the news that in Mumbai, as recently, like I think that 1 month before, there was a news that in Mumbai there's a huge big data center is going to be launched. And what is that data center? Data center is nothing, it is comprised of multiple servers, multiple things. So this data center where basically these multiple servers are launched and installed, and they can be accessed all over the globe. They can be accessed all over the globe via the IP address or via their host name or these things. Okay, so the benefit or the important part of this is that when you work on a cloud, you don't have to manage any physical server. Okay, you don't have to manage any physical servers or any software application. Means now let's take a small example. Okay, before coming further, let's take a small example where we'll talk about a small example of a calculator. And let's talk about three people who need a tax calculator. Now with that tax calculator, what happens that I am here in Bangalore, you are there in Mumbai, and one of our friend, a mutual friend, he is in London. Now these three people want to access that tax calculator. Now let's understand that I go and I bought a tax calculator of some or 2000 bucks. That tax calculator I made worked, I calculated the tax, I checked the things, and then I courier it to you. Okay, and then similarly you courier it to your friend. Let's say after a year, what happened? My tax slabs got changed, my GS or my cess rate got changed. There are few other things which got changed. Now the tax calculator is of no use for me because it is made up of as that particular prescription or that particular uh, prerequisites which were used for this particular financial year. But in the next financial year, if anything got changed, that calculator is of no use. Let's say if I have built a software or I have built an application or a web application of a tax calculator, and now if I have to use that tax calculator or if I have to share that tax calculator, what will I do? I'll just share the URL of my web application, right? I'll just share a web app URL of my web application, and as soon as I put up that, and that I can share to as many people, to as much far as I can. Okay, if I have a person in London, if I have a person in South Africa, if I have a person in Canada or any other place, he or she can access my application, and he or she can make work and make use of that calculate his or her tax. Now after a year, if something got changed, I just need to make the small code changes, and again it can be reused, right? So there is a huge difference between the cloud and between the on-premises one. Now when I talk about the on-premises one, so in that cases, you do, first of all, you are bearing a cost of a courier, and after 1 year that device is of no use for you or that application is of no use for us. Okay, so a huge cost investment is applied. After that, it cannot be reused or it cannot be made available widely to the wide resources, okay, to the majority of the resources or majority of the population. Whereas when I talk about the cloud, you can it can be reach out to as many people as you want. It can also be, it will be helpful in your saving your cost because you don't need any physical hardware, you don't need anything. And the best part about the cloud is that you have to pay only for the time you are using it. You have to pay only for the time you are using it. Means if you use your application for a 15 minutes, and if it is causing you some 2 cents, 2 cents in India terms, if I talk about, it says at 2 paisa. So if it says 2 cents or 2 paisa, sorry, per hour, in that case what you have to do, that you have to pay for that 15 minutes, whatever the amount is. Let's say that that costs you some 200 rupees. That's it. You don't have to pay the amount for the entire year or for the whole month or something. So you will, cloud means that you pay for what you use. Okay, or pay as you need or as you use. Okay, so this is a cloud which basically refers to the virtual environment, or to the virtual computer which you can access. Okay, anytime. If if you have to explain a cloud to anyone, take an example of this tax calculator and try to explain your friend, your colleague, or even you can explain it to your grandma who is at your home and she doesn't know anything about technology, but she will also make out a few differences, and I am pretty sure that she will tell you one or two difference as well, where she will say that, oh yeah, this could be the two difference more, which if it is like build up like an application, and if it is built up like a normal software or normal device, definitely you have to use some layman terms to explain to them. Okay, now let's talk about the cloud computing. Now, with the cloud, there is a term came as a cloud computing. Now, cloud computing, what do we mean by compute? Compute means what? Doing some sort of a calculation, okay, or doing some sort of uh, majorly into the calculation. So when I say the cloud computing, it is nothing but rather it is a set of different computers. You place one computer, two computer, three computer. So the set of computer which helps you to utilize your system resources more widely and use your services to their higher level, so that you can launch your application as fast as you want. When you have a higher number of customers, then you would need more resources. For example, right now if you have a system or a laptop with a RAM of 4 GB, and if you want to launch a game which requires a 8 GB of a RAM, what do? You either add one more RAM of 4 GB, so that your system can bear that particular load of that particular game or that particular application, whichever you want to run it, and that will bear that entire load and share the resources means your memory, your RAM, your CPU utilization and other resources. It can be shared properly. So similarly here also, in the cloud computing, you add on the servers. When you add on the servers, so what it happens that it utilize your resources properly, it and provision your application or build your application or launch your application so fast over the internet, and when it comprises of more than one or two resources. Now with cloud we have a different types of a service models. The one is the infrastructure as a service, second is the platform as a service, the third one is the software as a service, and the fourth one which is coming up now, which is an emerging thing, that is known as a function as a service, or it is known as a serverless application. It is known as a serverless application, which though these three are the main important one and they were important earlier, but now the fourth one also came into picture, and that is known as the function as a service. Let's try to understand these models and see how they work. If I talk about the software as a service, the software as a service model, now let's take an example that you went to rent a house. Now in that house, what happens that you, as soon as you go there, what you do, that you just go, you see the house, you see you have all your basic necessities what you require. You have a kitchen there, you have a dining area, you have a sleeping room, you have a balcony and other stuffs whichever you need. Now all your requirements, all the things are already set, already maintained for you, and you go and you rent it. So similarly, the software as a service means that instead of user installing applications on their device, or instead of you installing the application on your laptop or on your device, here when I talk about the cloud, or if you are working in a cloud, in that case you are hosting your application is already hosted on the cloud. Means, example, if you have to go and if you have to work on a Windows OS, in that case you are not going there and you are not installing Windows. Okay, you're never going to install Windows there. Rather, you will be getting a system with inst- pre-installed OS, that is a Microsoft Windows, Ubuntu, Linux, Red Hat, whatever you want, and the softwares and the set of applications whichever you need. Okay, so software as a service means that you already get the application, you already get a software on the cloud or on the server, whatever software you want to. Okay, so and you just have to pay the rent or the pay for that particular time for how much time you are using that software. Okay, now examples of this is like Slack, okay, or the Salesforce. These are the few examples of these software as a services. There are a lot of them, but these are the few of examples. Now when I talk about the platform as a service, now platform as a service means that, let's say that again, let's take an example of the house. Now in the house, if you have to build up a house or if you have to uh, do something in the house, you have to do some maintenance work or do some stuffs. Okay, you don't go and you don't buy the things, right? You don't, to build a particular platform, you don't buy things. You go and you rent out the tools, rent out the equipments, whatever you need. You use it for the time you need it. You fix that. Let's say you need a hammer, you need a nail. Definitely nail is something which you cannot return, so you will buy. You fix a hammer with that, and then you rent out the hammer, give it back. Means the equipments or the tools which are required, you really don't go and buy, you just go and rent them out. So when I talk about the platform as a service, in this kind of a model, companies don't pay for the application. Okay, means what they do, that they pay only for the particular component or particular part which they are using for that application. Okay, or which they need to build their own application. Means it's not in necessary that all the development tools or all the infrastructure or all the servers, all the operating systems are required by that application. If they want to use Ubuntu, if they want to use the Java or Python, so they will be using only, they will be buying or they will be renting out only those two things rather than building these things. So here you get a platform which has a required things to build your application, and then you start building your application. Means, example, you take example of a Microsoft Azure, or you, if you have worked on AWS, they give you a platform, they give you a platform where you go and you start building your application. Or you take an example of a Eclipse. The Eclipse application, what it does, that Eclipse application basically allows you to write the code to do all these things as and when you need it. Okay, it you start building your project, you start writing all your libraries, all your components whichever you need. Rather than, it's not that you are going to write the Eclipse application first, right? You are getting a pre-built platform there. Now the third one, I talk about the infrastructure as a service. Now in the infrastructure as a service, this particular model is something where companies rent a server or rent a storage whichever they need for a cloud or from a cloud provider, and then they, on that particular server, on that particular thing, the storage whatever is needed, they build their application. Means it's like your college or my office, they have not bought a land, right? They never bought a land to build a college or to build the office, because if they have to build the office 100 at 100 places in India, they cannot go and buy the land everywhere, right? What they will do, they will not buy a land, they take a land for a lease. Okay, that is for 5 years, for 10 years, for like that, and they pay for that, right? Example, you might have heard about the OpenStack, you might have heard about Google Compute Engine, you might have heard about the DigitalOcean. These are the platforms which allow you to buy the server or to take the servers on rent for a particular time, or for a time you want to use them, and as and when you use them, then you go ahead and you basically uh, like you build your application, you utilize that and go ahead with that. So these were the three main service models like the infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, and the software as a service. Now, the fourth one, which I talk about, the function as a service, or also it is known as a serverless computing. What does it mean? It means that you are breaking your applications into a smaller chunks. You have a larger application which you are breaking into a smaller chunks, and are running it on a particular time. Example, let's take example again of a calculator. At the same time, you don't want to perform add, subtract, multiply, division like that, right? If it is in a bracket also, then also a BODMAS rule will be applied on that. So the means you have created a functions, right? For addition one function, for subtraction one, for multiplication one, for division another. Now for those 4 to 5 server functions which you have prepared, at a time whatever function is required, that will only be called and that will be executed. So similarly, function as a service means the same, where you build a cloud application or build your application, but you break that into a smaller chunks, and you use that particular smaller chunk as and when needed. Okay, as and when needed. Example, in your house, you're not like everywhere in your house, right? At a time, at a dinner time you might be at a dining table, at a sleeping time you might be in a bedroom, when you're watching TV you might be in a living room, right? But there might be certain rooms or there might be certain places where you don't have to use them every time, correct? Now now when I talk about the cloud deployment models, the another important part, that is known like we have a different type of a deployment models, means how you can deploy your application into the cloud. Okay, or how you can place your application into the cloud. The service model means that how you are, what kind of services cloud offers. That is, it offers you the servers and the storage on a rental basis. It offers you a platform where you can build your application. It offers you the entire software on a rental basis, right? Now when I talk about the deployment model, which says that how the deployment can be done, the first and the foremost important one here is the public cloud. Now when I say the public cloud, it means that the internet right now also, if you go and if you access google.com, I can say it is hosted on a public cloud because it is accessible to each and everyone. Means when the any particular thing which is accessible to everyone or to anyone, that is your, or over the internet, that is known as your public cloud, means anyone can access it from anywhere. Okay, the other one is a private cloud. Private cloud, by the name is clear that it might be private to me, it would be dedicated to a particular organization. Means IBM will have their own private cloud network, Deloitte will have their own private cloud network. You cannot interact to Deloitte cloud network normally from your internet, because in that case you have to first log into Deloitte network, and then from Deloitte network you can go to their cloud or go to their network. So private cloud, public cloud is what? It is a network in how you are building your application, how you are trying to secure it, how you are trying to put it. Most of the time when we are using it for any practical purpose, for a learning purpose, we deploy it on a public cloud where anyone can access it, because we are not putting any sensitive information, we are not putting any confidential information, or we don't have any PII issues or the data integrity issues, so that we don't mess up with the things and end up with the other kind of a legals and all those stuffs. So in that case we use a public cloud. Whereas when we work for an organization or these places, we do use private cloud, we do use a private network. The hybrid cloud is nothing, it is basically the public and private combination. It is a combination of your public and private, where the reason it is a combination, because sometimes your legacy application or legacy servers, you cannot put them on a private cloud due to some odd issues. Example, there are a lot of banking application which are still using a legacy things like a mainframe, if you would have heard about a mainframe. So they're still using a mainframe and all these sort of components which are very uh, old, and they are using a old infrastructure. There are certain application I've still see in my, like in my career, seen them, and I'm still seeing that there are certain application using Windows 2000 or 2003. Oh god, that is something terrible, because when you go and from Windows 2010, if you try to switch to Windows 2000, it's like, it seems like that you have went into like 10 20, it seems that you went to 10 centuries back, where you don't had any network, where you don't have anything. Like there, to open up a small, like just to do a right click also, you have to wait for 5 minutes, that okay, it will come. You go and you grab a cup of coffee and take a sip of coffee, and then you think that okay, it will come up. So for those kind of things also, we have the challenges where we don't put them on the cloud, we put them on the on premises, or on the normal, or on the my my location, or I would say that my local location. Okay, now, so these are the three kind of a deployment models, where most of the time in industry we follow hybrid cloud model, that is a public and private combination cloud model. Now, cloud, there are a lot of cloud providers. Now, what do I mean by cloud providers is, so we have Amazon as one of the cloud provider, Microsoft as the another, Google as the fourth one, then we have Akamai, we have Alibaba, and the other, many more. But the major ones are Amazon, Microsoft, and the Google. Now, when I talk about the Amazon, Microsoft, and the Google, in these three one, what happens, that they have their own data center, means they have took a big plot or a big lease of land on a lease, where they have set up their own rack of servers, they have set up their own data centers, and they are very very huge. You, like, it's, you can't even imagine that they have so big data centers, that they have multiple of thousands of the servers installed there. Okay, now those servers, they, you can access it from anywhere across the globe, means they have built up all the network as a cloud, you can access it from anywhere. Okay, now when I talk about building up these data centers and these things, what these how these companies earn, and how these companies are efficient, is that they build, like Amazon, they have built their own services, means for the operating system, for these stuff, they have built up their own services. For the mic for the storage, they have built their own services. For database, they have built their own services. Now they have built, they have given you the services, they have given you the infrastructure, they have given you the platform. You are going there, you are utilizing it, and you are building your application over there. Okay, you are building your application over there, and for those application which you are building and which you are utilizing there, for those things, you will be paying only for the time you need them, only for the time you will need them, that's it. Now, among all these three, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, as per the trend, as per the things, these days Amazon Web Services is on the top in the market, because they have huge number of services, they have services for each and everything, they have the most efficient and most you would say that in the cost, it's a cost efficient as well. In the performance wise, they have a very good performance and everything, for which they can, their services are very very much efficient, and they are widely used in the industry. At the second number, it comes Microsoft Azure, which is known as Microsoft Azure Services, or Azure. For Amazon, it is known as Amazon Web Services. Now the last one comes out of Google. Now Google is important and is very very good service, but it is very good service when you have a large set of a data. When you want to play with a large set of a data, then Google is very very important. Google Cloud is good to use, because they have a different database language, their own database language known as BigQuery, their own database language known as BigQuery, which is very very efficient in processing terabytes and petabytes of a data. In terabytes of data, it processes in few minutes. In few minutes, you see that it processes the terabytes of a data. Now the other vendors like Alibaba or IBM has a Bluemix or DigitalOcean. These are the companies which provide the cloud services and these things, but for a particular time being. Okay, it's like, sorry, but they have their own private cloud. It's, they might not have that much services which these big vendors and big service providers do have. So this is about the cloud, where We talk about the cloud things, we talk about the service model, we talk about the deployment model, and we talk about the major cloud vendors. Okay. Now, as I was saying that different cloud vendors, Amazon has a 90% of a market being utilized or being captured by Amazon, whereas the rest 5% is being captured by Microsoft Azure, and the remaining 5% goes into the bucket of Google Cloud, IBM, Alibaba, and the other cloud providers. Okay. Now, the benefits of these clouds and these things are that when you are deploying the things on a on premises or on your local environment, in that case, it takes time because you have it takes time because of memory, it takes time because of performance, because of the internet and the other stuff. Whereas in the cloud it really doesn't take time, because when I say about the cloud, the deployments are so faster because they have the resources as per the application. Whatever the needs of the application are there, at that much memory, that much CPU utilization, that much RAM, that much processors, those would be there. The internet speed and things are quite good, which helps you in deploying the things faster. You pay as per you use, that is the usage based pricing. Less financial risk means you it is very um I would say that it's very efficient, because you have to really don't have a fear of losing something there, because the uptime of the servers is so good that you you will never face a downtime. Okay, you go to bank and you most of the time you go to bank and you see they say that server is down, right? But in these cloud vendors and these things, they have such a good uptime, such a good things, that their servers hardly goes down. Okay, they never face any kind of a outage. Upgrades are very easier. Rather, there are most of the cloud providers which have automatic upgrades of your software, of your OS, and automatic fix and troubleshooting. You really don't have to care and worry about those things. Here in the normal environment, what you have to do, for if your application has, like, let's say if it came from Java 7 to Java 8, now you have to make the upgrades manually and do the things. Whereas in the cloud and these things, you really don't have to take care of those. Your upgrades will be automatic, your things will be done automatic, right? Similarly, for on premises, you need the hardware, means you need a storage to store the things and to store the servers and all. Okay. Similarly, you need just a second, guys. Yeah, sorry. For the on-premise resources, you need the you need a storage where you can build up your servers, you can place your servers. You need a physical servers, you need a power equipment, you need all those things. Whereas for the cloud, you really don't need. It is a vendor who needs it. It is a vendor who has to take care, not you. Your job is to go and use their service and pay for that service. That's it. If I have to build now, it's such a great service that if someone says that, hey, I want to install a software with this much memory, okay, but my laptop doesn't have this much memory or this much capacity so that it can bear. I said, no worries. What you do, you go and you create an account for Amazon or for Google Cloud or for something, because for a learners or for people like us who want to learn, or the college grads and all those things, they provide some number of hours which is completely free, right? And you can go and you can launch and you can use their services and you can learn their services. So this is how the reduce the on premises resources and these things, uh, need of the hardware, need of the storage, need of the devices is reduced. Okay. Now, cloud engineering. Now, cloud engineering is nothing. If you guys are doing engineering, okay, I have done engineering, and if I understand correctly, engineering is what? It is basically the use, or it is basically the combination of lot of things which combines together and make those things applicable in our day-to-day life. We understand that how the things are working. We understand the application of the components. We understand the application of the subjects or the things which we are studying in a real time. We can able to relate it, correlate it, that how the things are working. So similarly, cloud engineering is what? It is the application of engineering which is equivalent to your cloud computing, which lets you that what are the approach, what would be the standards, what would be the rules, what would be the best practices which has to be followed when you are developing your application on a cloud, or when you are setting up your infrastructure or your server on the cloud. Okay, now the responsibilities of these includes like, okay, working in a team to identify and implement the most optimal cloud based solutions. Means you work in a cloud based team where you basically do the brainstorming and these things, where you say that okay, why the solution will be good for the cloud, why we should move it to cloud, how efficient it would be. You are doing lot of proof of concepts and lot of implementation on a day by day, and you learn a lot. Like, it is such a interesting field, it is such a good thing that you learn a lot. And it is not a technology, one of the technology or something, because it is a combination of multiple technologies, where you learn about database, where you learn about servers, where you learn about the storage, where you learn about computing, where you learn about the serverless applications, where you learn the different kind of languages and these stuffs. So I'll not go much into the responsibilities of cloud engineering, because they are more rather, we are discussing it on a one by one. So I'll talk about the learning modern programming languages, but before that, I would like to show you guys a small video. Okay, so just let me share my screen back to that video one. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Sarika, please let me know.
Yes.
So let me just give you the context. This video tells you that if you have a terabyte or a petabyte of a data, if you transfer it via manual approach, how much time it takes, and if you use AWS, that is Amazon provided service, then how much time it takes. Are you able to hear audio also?
No, no.
So you're not able to hear audio, Sarika?
No, no, there is no audio. You just have to select that system audio while sharing, no?
Hmm.
Just select the system audio. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, got
yeah.
it. Thank you.
Exabyte of data just seemed completely out there. Like an exabyte of data, it's so big. Today, an exabyte of data is a lot more commonplace. You'd be surprised how many companies, large enterprises and successful startups, given the way they collect data, have exabytes of data. They say, well, I love snowball edges, but if I have an exabyte of data, I'm going to need like 10,000 of those snowball edges. And that's probably too many for us to want to manage. So is there something you that allow us to move exabytes of data so we can leverage the cloud as well? So we thought about that, though, and that was a tricky one. And the first thing that came to mind was we're going to need a bigger box.
So guys, this is the to store the exabyte. You might have not even heard about the exabyte by now. You would have heard till petabyte, but there is something known as exabyte. And this exabyte of data, AWS has a snowball as a service, which allows you to store the data of a exabyte, and that data is huge. It's very, very huge. For that data, how it can be stored, this is what we are going to say it now.
Introducing AWS Snowmobile. So Snowmobile is a 100 petabyte container. It comes, uh, it comes affixed.
It's 100 terabyte of container. If someone has not listened, it's 100 terabyte of a container, where it says you that this is a 45-foot long this container, or a truck you can say, which is basically connected to your data center with a fiber cable. When you have to move a 100 petabyte of a container, if you have to move this much of a data, then for this 45-foot long truck, it actually comes to your data center. It actually comes to your data center. You connect the data center cable to the truck. It will show you that how you connect it, and then it starts filling it up. It starts, basically the data is start going through inside this. You basically have to request for this. The truck comes to you, it takes it, and then it transfers your data to cloud. Let's see it.
To a 45-foot long container and truck. The way it works, we'll drive the truck up to your data center. We'll take the snowmobile, affixed to the trailer. We have power and network fiber that will connect to your data center.
This is my network fiber through which it will connect.
You fill her up, and then the truck will come back, put the trailer back on the truck, and we'll move it back to AWS. If you think about the idea of moving an exabyte of data from on-premises anywhere, but especially the cloud, if you basically assign a 10 gigabit per second line to it, which is pretty reasonable, it would take you about 26 years to move an exabyte of data from on-premises to the cloud.
I hope you all have listened this. It takes 26 years to move the data from on-premises to cloud or to any other place when you talk about the exabyte of a data or 100 petabyte. 26 years, that's huge. And now we will see that how much it will take when you move it via the AWS.
Using 10 snowmobiles, it would take you a little less than 6 months.
And you see now, using this technology, using this AWS snowmobile, it takes less than 6 months. From a normal, it takes 26 years, and from this, it takes less than 6 months. Let's hear out for a quick 32 seconds.
That's a pretty huge difference. And that makes, you would not believe how many companies now have exabytes of data that they want to move to the cloud because they want to take advantage of the storage services that we have, and they want to take advantage of the database services that we have, and they want to take advantage of the huge number of analytics services we have, and the AI services we have. But moving exabytes of data before it was completely unreasonable and impossible, 26 years, less than 6 months with Snowmobile. Customers are going to be pretty excited about this one.
Okay, let's come back to our PPT. Now we'll have a quick 3 minutes of a break, and in that 3 minutes, it's not actually a break. You're going to basically you would have got one link, a quick quiz link. So let's see how many of people will score how much, and I would request all of you to quickly fill up that quiz and answer the questions. We have covered up all the things which are there in the quiz, and I would be glad to see most of you getting the full score. So your time starts now, and let's take next 3 minutes to quickly fill it up. So 2 minutes more for all of you. Be quick. Guys, I see still only 13 people have sent their responses, or still 13 people have this. What about we have more audience? Quick, last
All
two
are
minutes.
requested to please take a quiz. I've shared the link in the chat box, so please just attempt the quiz.
Great. I see the great score. The score like it's most of you are getting 20, 25, 20, 25. That's a huge, great score. So the last 1 minute for all of you. Okay, let's close put that on hold and let's hear it out here. You can give give that quiz a little later as well. But let's try to hear few more things, a few exciting things which we are going to talk about. And we talked about guys who are not speaking, can I request you to be on mute, please? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll talk a little bit about the programming language. We'll talk about your career, how your career is important, how it is related to cloud, and how the cloud is important in your career as well as in IT. Okay, so a lot of technical gyan I would say has been already delivered, and it's like, oh, okay, bahut ho gaya. But no, now we'll talk something different. We'll talk something for you because you are important not only for your college, not only for your for yourself, for your career, but for IT as well. Because every company needs a people like you and good developers and good database programmer, good cloud particular person, good programmer, and other things. Okay, even testers. Now, these days you might be hearing out here that the Python is a very important language. It has beaten up Java, it has beaten up .NET, it has beaten up C++. Even PHP has playing its own role in the web development. Now, if you talk about the PHP, the Java, or the .NET, they have become obsolete these days. The reason because the Python, a programming language, is completely based on the object oriented concept, and it's a very important and a very user friendly import language which is very easy to learn, very easy to write and understand as well. The reason because this language plays a huge role in your career. With help of Python you have so many libraries, you have so much of things to do, that with this programming knowledge or with this programming language you can do lot of things in few seconds, and it make your application lighter than you are using any other language like Java or some other language. You might have heard that Java creates a huge application or a heavy application. So in terms of performance, in terms of other things, you really face issues. Whereas with Python, you don't. So Python is the best part about Python is that it can be used for your web development or the full development, end-to-end development. Apart from that, it can also be used for your scripting languages. Means you can use Python for the scripting for the smaller functions and these stuffs. Okay, now scripting or automation is something which is very important in IT these days, because most of the IT is moving towards the automation. Everyone wants to automate the even the small manual tasks. They want us to automate it. They want us to automate it. Everyone is working and seeing the things toward automation, because the cloud, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the data science, all these things which are coming, they are moving towards the automations. They need automation. They need the people who can do the automation and these things. So your scripting, the Python scripting is very very important. So would I would request you all to focus on Python in your career. It will really add a great advantage on your resume. I'm not saying that you don't learn Java or you forget about Java or you forget about C, C++. They are your base language. Very important to learn. Learn about C, learn about C++. But looking at the trend, looking at the industry trend, which you should look always when you seek for a career growth, or when you go for a job, or you guys are going to be freshly out from the college, and in those kind of things, you should have the Python in your bucket. It is will really give you an add-on advantage. Okay, now the career prospect, if I say that nowadays data is something which is very very important. Data is something which is very very important. Now these days most of the companies, okay, most of the companies who are working on a data science or on data analyst or on the machine learning and artificial intelligence, where they are building a model or things which are predicting the things and all those stuffs, in those kind of scenarios you really need a data. To store those data, to store that massive amount of data, you need a cloud where you are storing all those data. To process those data and to write those things faster, you are we are using Python. Okay, and data scientists or the machine learning people or the data analysts or the data engineers, they play with this data in such a way that they take out from the tons or from the terabytes or petabytes of a data, they take out so much of useful information which is very very helpful in predicting some things, in preparing the dashboards, in preparing the graphs and performing the analytics. So now the main important part to let you know about this thing was that whenever you are learning Python or do these things, I'll give you a small example. If you have learned Python or do something, so what you can do is that you can take some website, try to do the scrap that website. Okay, try to do the scrapping of website, and when you do the scrapping of website, you will get to know most of the concepts of Python, as well as you will get to know the importance of data. Then you will get to know that, oh okay, this New York Times or the Times of India article, what really it does have, how much things does that one small paper contains, how much stuff does that one small paper contain. Okay, now, this is all about this. Now, I'll talk about the AWS quickly, where it says that AWS stands for Amazon Web Services, and it is a cloud service provider. It is one of a cloud service provider which provides you the services related to networking. Means you can build your own virtual network. provides your computing, means you can launch your own operating system irrespective of any flavors. Whether I talk about the Ubuntu, whether I talk about the Fedora, whether I talk about Linux, Red Hat, or any of these things. It gives you the storage, it gives you the Oracle database, it gives you MySQL, it gives you the um, Teradata or any other service. It gives you a different kinds of a web services as well, like the Apache web services, Nginx web server, different things. So it has more than hundreds of the services. It has more than hundreds of the services which can be utilized by the users, by the customers, and they can build their application with on the cloud or on the Amazon web services. It is most popular cloud service provider, being widely used and being widely known to most of the people. People are moving towards Azure, the provided by Microsoft, but still they are still using Amazon because of the widely provided services, because of the cost factors, performance, and these things. Azure, I'm not saying that Azure is not coming into market or not building a market. It is building a market, but still Azure will take a little time than Amazon. Similarly, Google, as I mentioned, is very important, Google Cloud, but when you have a large amount of data at that time. Now, why you should learn AWS as a student, as a BTech graduate, you guys might be going to be the graduate, or you might going to land in the IT in next 1 year, some in 6 months, some in 3 months, or some are about to. For you, it is very important to learn because if when you go to IT, when you go to things, you are really not sure about the technology, you are not sure about the project, you are not sure about the things which you might get. But when I see that in your resume, in your things, you have the stuffs, you have the things, uh, or anyone, if I talk about the uh, when you have the things, you are the student of the IT, you are the student of the BSc IT, you are the student of a computer background on these things. So when you want to learn about all these stuffs and go into the IT and add these things into your resume, it really gives us more or it gives recruiters more skills, rather more skill sets to enhance, and they can directly utilize you. And when you have a certification of these, then it gives you more power and basically adds more advantages to your resume, that okay, you know a cloud service and these things, so I can take you into the cloud project, I can take you something with respect to the database projects where we are using a cloud thing. You know Python, oh okay, great, I can take him into the development stuff, right? So cloud, AWS is very important because, as I said, it's a market leader, a largest public cloud computing platform with more than 100 services. AWS certifications are the most popular certifications currently in the market. The bigger brand names or the bigger companies which you see every day, like Netflix, or which you use in the day by day things like Reddit, Pinterest, and other, they all are running on AWS. They all are running on AWS. It provides you a lot of things for the data science. It provides you a lot of services for IoT, lot of services for artificial intelligence and these stuffs. Okay. Now, why customers choose AWS? The customers choose AWS because of these services. It provides you the services for compute, it provides you the services for storage, for database. It helps you for data migration, which we see the truck. That was this example when you have a large, very large set of a data in a exabyte. It provides you to create your own virtual set of a net cloud. It provides you for developer tools, for management tools, for media, mobile services, machine learning, analytics, for user management, security management, augmented reality and virtual reality. The next revolution in the IT which is going to come. Like I don't think it's too far. It's very soon. The AR and VR is going to be in the IT, is going to be in the market. Okay, and it also provides us a lot of other stuff like IoT, the games development, the AWS cost management, the streaming things, and all those stuffs. So these are the things, if one particular provider which provides you so many services, which provides you so many things at one place, so this is something like definitely they will be leader in the market. There won't be any other second choice for them. Now now before all this, now I will say that for when I would like to share about my experience before, uh, like when I have done BTech. I have done BTech in IT, and I did it in 2011 and all, when from the Greater Noida, one of the college named as GL Bajaj. And when I was in my final year, I was thinking that at that time the sad part was that we don't have so much of resources. We don't have we though we had resources over the internet, but not the correct way to guide us, that okay, I should learn this, I should learn that, I should go at this particular platform from now onwards, so that it will shape my career good. Because what we do is that we think of that okay, I should get a job somehow, but I think that that is actually that is the priority, but that is not the topmost priority for me. Because I have to build my career, because before landing into the job, I have such skill sets in my bucket, so that I can land up into a correct job which could lead me to a good career next down the line 5 years. Because you really don't see that how the 5 years are going. Okay, you want to plan something that okay, I want to become a developer, a big developer, so should know the latest things about the development. Most of the things the people are deploying on a cloud, so I should have some knowledge on cloud from starting. I should have some knowledge on the Python or Java, any language. Okay, I should have some knowledge on the database. I should know a little bit of a the if I want to become a data scientist, or if I want to become the data engineer, or these things. If I love data, I can play with data. I can extract something useful from the data. If I'm good in statistics or something, so this is how we should plan. That what I want to, what are the important things, what are the career opportunities there, how, what are, you always you go and you see the job descriptions, you see the different people profiles and these stuff, and with that you will get to know that what are the key things which are required right now in the market, what are the key programming languages which are required in the market, what are the key technologies, the key all the software stacks. List all those software stacks. Okay, this is required, this is required, this is required, among which what is important for me to learn and how much to learn. It's not important to learn all the things, it's important to learn this much, but you should be good to in that. You should be good in that. This much, if you say to me that I know this much, and if I ask you any questions in this much, you can answer you should able to answer everything. That is known, the importance of learning anything, and that's how actually you should learn the thing. Then you can plan your project and you can think of all the things on that how you can, okay, now I am learning this thing, I should plan some project or something on this. Okay, so these are the very important things which are actually required for your career. The software stack which you should prepare, which you should technology stack rather, I would say, that you should focus on a particular set of technology, like two or one technology, whatever is required based on your career goal or your career map, and then you should learn. Now I'll come back to the AWS certifications, because AWS certification is something which is important for now. It is important because most of the clients, most of the customers, they want AWS certification. So why certification is important? First, let me brief you about that. The certification is important because it gives you a knowledge. Because when you do learning by two ways. One, okay, without a certification you are just learning it, right? You learn it, you think that okay, I got it. But when you are preparing for a certification, when you have to give exam, you learn, then you follow a different approach altogether. If you have an exam tomorrow, so if you have heard that Mr. MS Dhoni, he also said, right, that if you have studied for 4 months, for a year, then no one can fail you or something like that. And if you have not studied, then like nothing will happen, right? So like kind of that, I forgot the complete the dialogue. But so knowledge is something, when you study for a certification or when you study for an exam, then you follow a different approach. You look over the concepts and the things. So but you have to look for each and every concept, that okay, this is the concept one, this is the concept two, concept three, and I want to know about this. Then the certification, like apart from knowledge, it gives you a proof of knowledge. If you come up to me and you say that okay, I have the certification, somewhere in my mind it will be there that yeah, you might have. I can't like say that okay, he doesn't have this, because you have the certification. it gives you, it opens more doors for you in your job, because you have a certifications that open more door for you. Definitely gives you a pay increase. That is another important thing which will always be important in our life. And the last one is the confidence, because when you have a certification, it gives you a confidence. You like stand straight and you say that yes, I know this thing and I am certified in that. And the best part about AWS certifications is that they are valid for 3 years. So it's a good amount of a time until when you can say to anyone that yeah, I know and I do. Now these certifications, you can take any certification exam at any point of time. Now they have a very small, for the basic, for the fresh one, they have a cloud practitioner certification, AWS cloud practitioner certification, where they talk about the basic concepts, basic terminologies and things about the certificate AWS. Then you have the AWS developer certification, where they talk about AWS developer course and all these things. And then they have the certification of the certified solution architect. Okay, now certified solution architect means that you know the whole environment, whole things. You know how to design the environment. Okay, you know how to design the application or the cloud environment. Then they have some certifications related to DevOps. DevOps is another emerging thing, another emerging uh, culture basically in the IT industry, which is being followed everywhere. So they have a certification for DevOps. So DevOps is completely a different topic and completely a different thing. They have some specialized certifications with respect to security, with respect to networking, with respect to big data, with respect to also have the IoT and these things. And after cloud, they have the certification for the sysops admin, that is known as certified sysops administrator associate. Now for, it depends for the level of the experience and the kind of a level I'm going to enter, that what kind of a certification I should be. As a starting, I would say that AWS developer, AWS SysOps certificate is important, because when you talk about developer certificate and all, you basically have a knowledge of the programming language, you have a knowledge of a database. Like in one small certification exam, you get a knowledge of all the combination of all the components, that it has lot of things. Like you have a database, you have a network, you have the compute, you have the storage, a programming language, deployment of the things, and lot of other stuff which you get to know about this. Okay, now when I talk about the difficulty level, so the most difficult exam is the certified solution architect. The most difficult exam is certified solution architect. This is the one which is most difficult exam. The cloud practitioner is a very easy, the foundation level exam. Then it comes to sysops. So sorry about this order, I think this has bit of mess has been made here, but this order is not exactly right. So the foundation one is a cloud practitioner, then a sysops, then developer, then you have the solution architect, which is the most difficult exam. And then you come up with a specialized. So for the specialized certification, like for the security, for the big data, for the DevOps, for the networking, and all these things, the level of difficulty is quite same. It's like it goes little bit up and down, but quite same. Now there are different kinds of coverage which has been designed for the exam. Okay, this exam, like it has some 65 questions, entire multiple choice exam. And with this multiple choice exam, what happens that you give the answers and all those things, you get a result immediately. And this costs you around $150 and these stuffs and these things. So this structure is like for those people like who actually want to go, and then they for the exam, so they see that okay, how your, like it's like your book, like your syllabus, your things are divided similarly. Now quickly, you guys would be seeing here about the thing known as the being datum here. So let me quickly show you guys that what is this logo all about. Okay, now so we have this like the beingdatum.com, which is provides the online learning platform for everyone. You can write your blogs, you can post your projects, you can post about your products and things here. And even we do provide the integrated course about the AWS, about the AWS development and associate. We do provide a course on the data sciences. We do provide a course on the related to uh, the machine learning, related to the big data and data engineering and all this stuff. So you can go through about our website beingdatum.com. And if you want for any help or anything in your career or any stuff, any technology to learn, you can always reach out from beingdatum.com. You can always reach out to us via our Facebook page, via our LinkedIn page. We have our YouTube channel where a lot of videos are also posted about us. And it talks about our courses also, which are very nominal. We have a DevOps, we have a cloud courses, data sciences. We have built up some of lot of stuffs, lot of products. Our interns has also built up lot of products and lot of things which they have blogs and these stuffs. This is all about our trainers and our details. You can raise your query from here and these things. Now I'll quickly open up this thing, the session for you guys to ask the question. If you have any, one by one you can raise your hand and ask the questions.
Students, if you have any doubt, you can raise your hand, or maybe you can unmute yourself and you can ask, please. And I have shared the feedback link in the chat. So all are requested to fill up the same. Any doubt, any query? Prince, Amisha, anyone? If you would like to ask anything. Okay, I have a question, Sachin, regarding the AWS certification. Is there any validity for this particular certification?
Yeah, so it is valid for 3 years. It is valid for 3 years. It
Okay.
costs you around $150,
Mm.
whereas like, but after one certification they give the 50% discount for other. But for them, the $150 it costs for the solution architect, whereas for the foundation level and for that it might, like, I don't remember the exact cost, but it won't cost this much of price.
Okay. So we have two questions. One question is from Pallari Majumdar. Can you tell us about AZ 900 exam?
Okay, that is at 900 exam is of the Microsoft Azure exam. So, and I believe that exam is of Azure developer exam, I guess. So if you can clear it, us that I don't remember the code for the exams, but as you have the exam for AWS for the cloud service, similarly the same things goes for the any other cloud vendor. When you talk about the Azure, when you talk about the Google Cloud, the things are the quite same for all of the vendors, and just the terminologies differs and the little bit conceptual things differ. So we do provide for Azure also. We do provide the trainings and the things for Azure also. But as I said that the leading person in the market is AWS, so we are focusing on there. But yes, if anyone has interest on Azure, they can also let us know.
Okay. So the next question is, does AWS ever go down? This question is from Yogesh Jain.
So Yogesh, that's a nice question, but definitely it will not go down anytime because it is leading market from last 5 years. And so if you don't know, but that basically the CEO of AWS, Jeff Bezos. Okay, if you know a little bit background of him, so he will never let his company go down, right? So he has some sort of things in the within the team where whatever things they develop, they try to come up with as a service for each and everything, and they bring up such an interesting service that we as a user, as a customer, would never want to lose them. We would always try and we always get attracted to those service. And definitely the kind of the performance, kind of the cost optimization and the efficiency they provide, it will never ever go down, AWS in the market.
Okay. Thank you. The last question we have from Ritik Raj Vaishya. Sir, we are from IT background and then we think to make our career in cloud field. What do you suggest? Which course you can suggest to BSc IT students?
So definitely, what I would suggest you guys here. So first of all, let me tell you that I am also from IT background, and I think I'm doing pretty good with my career. I have been like into the different technologies, and now doing from a long time I'm doing into the cloud and the DevOps and these stuffs. So definitely cloud, you should go ahead with the cloud and the DevOps developer thing, the cloud developer, because with that what you will get to know that you will learn about the cloud, you will learn about the programming language or the scripting languages, the Python. So or you can move on to the data science or the DevOps course, where DevOps is completely a different course where you learn about a lot of different technologies. It's a culture which is being followed in industry a lot nowadays. And or the data science, which is again a different field. So looking at the trend, three things are important. Cloud, with cloud you learn a programming language and the other lot of other things, because that is a cluster of lot of things, so you learn a lot of things with cloud, or the DevOps or the data science and these stuffs.
Okay, so these were the questions. Now I would like to call Ketki Gawli ma'am. She is also one of the subject faculty in advanced web programming. So just to propose a vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, Mr. Sachin Agarwal. I would really like to thank you for giving us this opportunity to
uh,
Ketki, you got your hello. Ketki, we are not able to hear you. I think you logged out from the system. Hmm. Ketki, are you there? Ketki, we are not able to hear you. I think your system got hanged, maybe.
I think could be the network
Yeah,
issues.
yes, network issue from her
Either she
side.
can turn off her video and probably that might resolve it.
Yeah.
am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, okay, sorry. That was a bit of a network glitch. Thank you, Sachin, for, coming, I mean, taking this time out and, explaining these various aspects about the cloud engineering concept to our students. I'm sure all of them will be benefiting from whatever that you have really explained with, all that enthusiasm to all of them. I'm sure they're going to look forward to getting into this field, and we are really hoping for the future endeavors with you as well. So, thank you, sir. We're really glad to have you here with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here, and like would like to extend my thank to all the student as well as to Sarika ma'am, and uh, to all of you to for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity. It's a great it's very nice to meet everyone and communicate with everyone. Good.
Thank you so much, Sachin.
Yeah. Okay.
Students, participants, it's just a request before leaving the meeting, if you can just fill up the feedback form. All are requested to fill up the feedback form. On those who have not given the quiz, they can also attempt the quiz. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this webinar.
Okay. Thank you. Uh, I can log off, right, Sarika ma'am?